When Australia commemorates the Anzac centenary this weekend, most of the tributes will be paid to the thousands of men who died fighting. In the 100 years since, things have changed a lot in the Australian Defence Forces. Now women make up 15% of full-timers in the military. It hasn't been a particularly easy road to travel though. Women have only been allowed to serve with the men since the 1970s, and until recently combat roles were off limits. Then, in modern times, there have been the sex scandals and harassment suits. But as Zoe Ford reports, the culture is changing and women in the military today have more opportunities than ever.
You're in charge of a big machine. You know, it's a fairly responsible job that you've got up there, but still, when you can look back on some of the things you've achieved, it's pretty cool.
So pretty much up to engine starting.
Rotor starting?
Rotor starting.
Lieutenant Kate Minari is training to be a flight commander in the Royal Australian Navy, and the MRH-90 is her office.
You get a different perspective on the world, obviously, stunning views. You get to go places that some people just would never dream they could go to.
In a few months, she'll take this helicopter to sea with up to 18 troops on board. But today, I've been invited along.
It's a pretty nice day for flying. It is an absolutely perfect day for flying.
With more than a decade of aviation experience, this flight over Jervis Bay is an easy one for Lieutenant Minari. She's already done 3 tours to Afghanistan while on loan to Britain's Royal Navy.
Pretty challenging, but very rewarding, seeing as you train all your career to get to that point. We had a couple of incidences where we were fired upon, but I guess that's all part of it. And you literally spend maybe a nanosecond thinking, oh my God, that just happened. And you get right on with flying. So this is the MRH-90 that I'm flying at the moment. It's a multi-role helicopter. Both the Army and the Navy have the exact same helicopter, exact same fit out, same paint job and everything.
Lieutenant Minari is just one of 5 female pilots in the Australian Navy, a role that was open to women 16 years ago.
I think it's just an amazing shift that we've had. I guess it's cultural in terms of the wider society, but also definitely in terms of the military, as to what we can do nowadays. And I'm probably grateful for those trailblazers that I had the choice to join up and join as a pilot.
Do you feel like a trailblazer?
Oh, we didn't feel like that much at the time. We just felt we're lucky to get in.
Jean Nissen and Gwenda Cornwallis served with the Women's Royal Australian Naval Service when it formed in World War II.
How do you ladies feel when you see the roles that women are doing in the Defence Force today?
Absolutely flabbergasted.
And how about you, Jean?
Oh, they're doing a fantastic job. They really are. The ones that are getting to the top, they're just as good as any man.
Back in the 40s, women such as Jean and Gwenda were recruited to send and receive Morse code.
It was such a beautiful rhythm about Morse.
Yes.
Yes. You know, it was just such a lovely way of communicating.
Yes. Does this bring back memories?
Oh, I've had that ever since, you know, been in the cupboard, never used.
I bet you still remember what to do with it.
Yes, I
Can you
use
show
that
us?
like that. Oh, what'll I do? What shall I say? Oh, no, it's not close enough.
As highly skilled as the women were, their Navy, Army and Air Force organisations were disbanded at the end of World War II. They reformed later during the Korean War, but women weren't allowed into the mainstream Defence Force with men until the 70s.
And it was difficult because you weren't accepted unless you had done the hard yards, which they considered to be the more combat related, and women hadn't. So for a couple of generations it was damn difficult. But then came ADFA, and that was a huge step forward.
Dr Catherine Sperling began her career at the Australian Defence Force Academy, but now writes and lectures about the military externally. She says ADFA's opening in 1986 meant women and men could study and train together for the first time. By 92, every defence unit was open to women except combat, and that restriction remained until 2 years ago. Now 936 Australian women are serving in various combat and security roles, compared with more than 13,000 men.
We've moved forward, yes, definitely, but how much is smoke and mirrors? Until I see women embedded in all these combat categories, I don't believe we've made the ultimate progress yet.
I can't speak for the other two services. I know what we're doing in the Air Force, and I think if we do more than what we're doing, it will start to appear tokenistic. I think what we're doing now is the right balance.
Wing Commander Karen Coy has worked in Air Force personnel and recruitment for 25 years. She says the only Air Force job never to be filled by a woman is that of fighter pilot.
There's an enormous amount of pressure for them because you know the media is interested, you know the spotlight's on you. It's not just about achieving fighter pilot status, it's about all the baggage and all the package that comes with it.
The Australian Defence Force has had its own baggage to deal with too, such as the Skype sex scandal, where a male ADFA cadet broadcast himself having sex with a female cadet without her knowledge, and the Jedi Council affair, involving a group of officers allegedly emailing explicit images of women without their consent. The Chief of Army went online himself to issue this stern warning about respecting female colleagues.
They are vital to us, maintaining our capability now and into the future. If that does not suit you, then get out.
Charges were laid, inquiries were held, commissions were set up, reports were written and recommendations were made.
We're not here dealing with a few bad apples. We're dealing here with a systemic and cultural issue.
I do think the culture and the treatment of women has changed. Are we there yet? Absolutely not. There's still a long way to go.
Army as a whole is a very positive workplace, and those incidents are very isolated, and I personally haven't encountered any of them.
Lieutenant Natasha Fassel-Murphy commands a troop with almost 30 men in the Royal Australian Corps of Signals. We joined them on an infantry minor tactics exercise in Brisbane.
What have you got everyone else in your section doing whilst the vehicle's being searched?
The lieutenant says she's treated with respect by everyone.
Another thing I'm quite proud of is that the Australian Army pays equal wages regardless of gender, because I believe there is still a number of industries within Australia that don't pay genders equally.
Tell us what you love and we'll show you how you can do it in the Australian Defence Force.
Defence has just launched a slick new advertising campaign to entice more women, and it set some targets. The regular Navy and Air Force each sit at 18% female now. Their goals are 25% by 2023. Army is currently at 12% female. The aim is 15% by 2023.
I think that quotas are perhaps a goal or an aspiration to aim for. I don't think they should ever be met at the expense of capability.
And if there's something all the women in Defence we spoke to agree on, it's that they want to be judged on their merits, not their gender.
People around me respect me as a female, but also as a pilot. And in the end, it ends up just coming down to your competency and how well you do your job. That's what I've always found all the way through.